All right, welcome. Let me get the music off and let me pull everybody into the stream. We appreciate everybody being here on this Hump Day Wednesday, March 11th at 4:32 Eastern Standard Time.
Hump Day.
Hump Day, and I'm Dave and our Cornbread Man. We got Biscuit Boy and Miss Jenna Turnipseed in the house, and I want to thank her for keeping us in mind and coming. And we're glad to help you any way we can. Of course, yesterday was election day. It didn't go the way we wanted. I appreciate you coming to address, and I read your online post, which I thought was well said. And I'm not just saying it because you're here. I was like that. I didn't even add a comment. It was so good. Just I loved it. It was just really so many people. I just want to say off the top that you did such a great job with maintaining the proper, what I think is outlook for the people and a clean campaign. This thing got ugly.
Yeah, it did.
And I told you early on behind the scenes that I was hearing stuff that I had not ever seen in this area, and it got even worse. I couldn't believe it. You don't have to even speak to that, but did any of that wash your way? We never got a chance to ask. Like, I never saw your name drug in, but the mudslinging was bad in the 14th district, what we're talking about in Northwest Georgia.
So some of it came my way, but it came not about me. There was like a period to where I was getting stuff about other candidates. And it was coming from, I don't know if it was specifically coming from a candidate team or somebody that may have had dislike with specific individuals.
Right.
But there seemed to be like a 2-week spree to where people were just mailing me what they thought was dirt on other candidates or things that they didn't like. And have you heard? And did you know? And I refused to post any of it.
Good for you.
I had a couple emails that I turned over. Luckily I had all the candidates' numbers, and I was like, hey, I got this email. I wanted to let you know I got this email, and I sent it to them.
Yeah.
But I was not the person that was willing to post or turn over anything. And most of the stuff you could tell was obviously just some kind of page they were trying to fabricate into something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, not my thing.
Good for you.
Yeah, for those around the nation, this was the seat for Marjorie Taylor Greene, who stepped down. And then there was a huge field, bigger than I've ever seen. When I went and voted, I have to scroll up and down to find where I can vote.
Started out over 20, wasn't it?
I started out with 22. We had 17 finally make it to the ballot.
Wow.
And of course, it didn't go the way we wanted, and we're going to let Ms. Jenna speak to that. But we do have the runoff, which is no surprise. But it was a little bit of surprise of who it is, I think, maybe. But it is military men. But we have Clay Fuller, right? And on the Republican side, and Mr. Harris. I don't remember Mr. Harris' first name.
Sean.
Okay. Who will be running? And when is that? Do they have an
April 7th.
April 7th. So just turn it right around and do it again. And then we've got
a primary.
Coming up. It's a busy year.
And then if there's a Republican candidate in the primary doesn't make 50%, then we have a primary runoff in June.
Wow.
It's just one of those years, folks. And then obviously the main election in November, 3rd or 5th, whatever. I think it's 3rd. So anyway, it's your platform right now, and we want to turn it over to you and let you just say whatever you want to say. I've got a couple of questions. You'll probably address them, but just want to give you an opportunity. I appreciate you thinking about us and coming this way and tell us all the things that's on your mind and heart about the election.
So the biggest thing, obviously, is thank you for everybody's support, especially you guys. But I had a lot of people that really, were really strong supporters. And I think that was really neat. And it wasn't people that I knew to begin with. It was all people that found me. Maybe I came out and talked to or something.
Sure. Right.
And I feel like I had a really good, strong base. I got to do candidate forums before, which I've never done before. I had great feedback from all of them. Even to include, I would have some older women that would come up and shake my hand. They're like, I can't vote for you. I'm a Democrat. I won't vote for Republican. I'm so sorry, but you're amazing. I loved you. I loved everything you did. And those were some of my favorite. And then I have joked a lot during the race that I felt like I was everybody's second favorite. I had people call me on the line. They're like, hey, I saw that you were running. I really love your campaign. I really love your platforms. I already know so-and-so, or I'm working on somebody's campaign, or I'm really trying to help so-and-so. But they really liked what I was, who I was and what I was about, or how I conducted my campaign. And that was really nice. I don't think outside of we joked about the few APAC, which I totally made friends with the APAC guy that we were talking about last time. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit. But I don't think I really got any negative feedback from somebody that wasn't a strong opposal about something that we didn't agree with. Even most of the people that I didn't agree with stood on the position of, I like that I know why she feels that way. Right?
Yeah.
I like that even if we don't agree on the position, she's willing to explain the position and we can talk about it. And to me, that was really nice.
Yeah, because you're never going to find a candidate that agrees with everything you agree with 100%.
Yeah.
That never happens. We're humans. We're going to have,
Very rare.
and you're looking at a constituency, not just one person.
Right. You're not
and you have
voting.
your own feelings about it. There's this give and take about you should always just think about the constituency, but you're part of that. You have your
Right.
own, and you never hide that. You went out there and said, "This is what I am. This is
Yeah.
what I'm for." Military, education, those things you were talking about. So you can never please everybody anyway in those. But I thought you did a very good job because you did get hit with a few hard questions,
Yeah.
and people were upset. Especially, what was the first thing that made people mad? What was that? It was maybe it was over support for something overseas or something, or what you question it.
I think it was the APAC thing for the most part.
It may have been.
Because, the question is always, do you support APAC? Right. And that's it.
Yes.
And that's where the question lies. And the majority of the people, even the first forum I went to with the GRA, which the majority of the crowd is very anti-APAC, they asked everybody, do you support APAC and do you support Israel? And they asked them separately. And the majority of people that don't support APAC still supported Israel.
Right.
At least at that forum. And it was always, if you had 100% support, it was always from somebody that was 100% support, was somebody that was military. Christian Hurd was the first person that was next to me that stood up and was like, I support a strategic relationship with Israel. Clay Fuller did the exact same thing. And I think because there's a different understanding of our military strategic need for that.
Yeah.
I got booed off the stage for it several times. I
Wow.
went to, and this goes to the dirt thing that you're talking about. I don't know if you saw the video, but there was one where we were at a forum and you never got to see the beginning of the video, right? You never get to see all of the dirt. And they asked us, do you support APAC? Will you take APAC money? And then they passed it down the line. And they asked Clay, and he, gave his answer, and it went back, and it came back to Reagan Box. So Reagan Box took the money, and she was like, she said her piece and said, Clay, I'd like to point out that Clay, you didn't answer the APAC question. Like, hands the mic back to him. And that's how this starts. And so somebody tapes him, and the way that it came across was just very rude. It was just like, boom, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So Clay
right.
gets up, and he's very fiery in his answer. And like half the crowd just booed him. And it was all, what I'll say, it's all one candidate's crowd that came in to support him that was very angry about this. And it came back down to mine. And the next question was a budget question, right? I already answered the APAC question. I stood up very clearly. I'm not taking APAC money, but it's because I'm not taking any PAC money. I want my support to be unconditional, because if I say I support Israel fully and we're going to go to this and I give you that and I don't take PAC money, then you know that my support is legitimate. If I've taken APAC money and then I vote for that, then you don't know why I have that support, right? Even if my basis didn't change. So that's my reasoning for it. And anyways, it comes all the way back down the question. And it was a budget question, which are my favorite.
Right.
And I got up and I was like, I can't believe I'm going to pass on a budget question. And I turned around and went back to Clay Fuller's answer. Like, that's where I used my 45 seconds. And I got booed right back off the stage.
Wow.
I was and real quick, a shout out
Wow.
if he sees this, Christian Hurd, because he did drop and run in another race. He was going to come on the show. You're the only two candidates that got back with me. And I didn't get with all 22, but I did send out some.
Yeah.
And I had one other one that said we would try to get together. We didn't. And that's fine. But I do want to thank him. He was willing to come, and he said, hey, some things are in the works. I ask you not to share this, but there's going to be changes coming. And
Okay.
he changed, what he was doing. So just a shout out to him on that. And I appreciate you, brother, for being willing to come on. Real quick, Broski said, looking back on it, which political topics do you wish you looked into more or prepared more or for more, had more knowledge about? Was there anything that jumps out now that you've went through this process?
First one would have been data centers. Hands down would have been
Really?
data centers. We don't see it as much up here where we are, so it's not something that I was very keyed into. And when I went to the lower side of the district, it was a huge concern, and it wasn't even me being asked about it, but I was listening to people talking to it, like GOP meetings or some of the women's luncheons I went to, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't understand why it was a concern. I didn't understand the rapid growth behind it. I didn't understand the way they're being funded, and some of that stuff is being shielded. I've learned a lot since. I have more to learn, but that's probably the number one thing I would like to know.
It's a great answer. You said 3 times on that I didn't understand. and it's refreshing to hear someone
Oh,
say
yes.
that without having the
Definitely.
ego to say I know everything, and I know there was nothing.
Yeah.
That's honesty, that's transparency, and I like that. And for me as a voter, this reaffirms, which we already knew, it reaffirms
Yep.
why my vote was with you, is because you're willing to go get the answer, you're willing to dig and study and say I don't know, but I'm going to develop an answer here for you. I'll get you an answer.
Yeah.
So what is the big concern about the call centers?
The data centers, it's
Or
power,
data centers?
the
The
water.
amount of power and water they consume
Yes.
is huge, right? So if you were going to put a data center near Chickamauga, Georgia,
Yeah.
it would probably consume more power and water than Chickamauga, Georgia. Like
Wow.
the cooling need is immense.
Yeah.
The noise is another big one. So if you put a data center, 2 blocks down the street from here,
Yeah.
you might not be able to have the podcast due to the feedback of the noise and things like that. There's like people that are saying that they can't sleep due to all this interference. So it's kind of wrecking the areas that they're putting them in. So that's another big one.
Okay.
And then there's concern over the fact that certain people they're giving tax incentives, just like any other corporation. You want to bring them back.
Yeah.
These communities don't want them, but states are, and not necessarily Georgia, but I think that there is some there. Again, I don't know all of it, but states are giving these tax deductions to build these data centers, and people don't want their money spent that way. So it's a multiple problem.
Well, I don't understand why they don't just start building them out in rural
So the
places if
question
they
with
have to
that,
have them.
right? We lose agricultural land at an immense rate already. So do you really want to give up agricultural land?
No.
It becomes another debate.
No.
I did look it up, and there are some places that are putting the data centers underground, which I
Okay.
think it is a phenomenal idea.
Sure,
I don't
that's
know
not
where
how
we
I've
do it
seen
here.
that before.
Yeah, but
It's
if you
kind of
think,
like a natural Faraday cage.
yeah,
It's-
right. You're going to reduce the sound.
Yeah.
You're going to reduce the power consumption because of the cooling. You're going to reduce the water consumption because of the cooling.
Right.
And I don't know
Yeah.
where we do that or where we combine them, but I think that that's a good answer. And the other one would be like these big outdated factories that are in places because they're already in some kind of a commercial downtown
Sure.
area. Why not reuse that land?
It's true.
So I think
Yeah.
we're going to have to explore options. So that's where it lies. We're not getting away from the need from them. It's going to grow. We have to have
It's
it.
gonna
Is there
grow.
any physical? I mean, does it cause any physical disruption?
I think it's one
From
of those
the
things we won't
frequencies
know.
and things.
Yeah, we
It
won't
hasn't
know
been
for
studied.
10
There's
to
concern
20
about
years.
the
Yeah.
water being displaced back out.
Right.
That there may be some
Contamination.
well, could be. It is a huge drain on like she said, on your network. But you got to be near where the workers are. And in Georgia, we don't have in this part of that corridor.
Yeah.
We don't have enough workers for the next 5 years. That's why they're really looking to try to bring people in. There's such a demand because of all the businesses that have built up besides the data centers.
Yeah.
How do we get enough workers, then the power and all that? But you're right, it's not going away. This is not going away.
So what data are they collecting?
So the majority of
Just
it
on
is
people.
well, no, it's to be able to run all like the AI capabilities and stuff. The amount of data storage need
Okay.
for the increase of AI usage. America leads in AI right now, so that's a great thing.
Yeah.
But we don't
Yeah.
have the infrastructure to support our use of it.
Broski has another
Wow.
question. How did your military background help you prepare for a political run? Which specific skill sets acquired from the military translated to politics? That's a good
Broski,
question.
you always got all
That
the
is a
questions,
great
man.
two-part question, man.
Yeah, it
Really.
is.
Okay, so number one was my complete comfort, willingness, and ability to answer any question that was fired at me. I noticed that there was other candidates, and I think it's typical in politics to try to avoid a question
Right.
and stay on their platform because of so much briefing to colonels and generals and things like that, and just being thrown into a situation when somebody asked me a question. I was very comfortable to stand up and this is what I know and how.
Right.
I have been taught that you don't just give a reason, you give a background. And usually because of when I'm briefing, I'm trying to explain why we're doing something to somebody. That was well received. And I would say the other thing is the breadth of knowledge. We don't typically stay in a position in the military longer than 12 months. They pick you out of one
Yeah.
job and they put you in another. It's because it's an up or out type thing, right? You're trying to develop to be a good battalion commander, a good brigade commander, a good general officer.
Right.
And you have to know all these things. So what I understood about budget, what I understood about nutrition, what I understood about foreign policy, that helped a lot.
Right.
Yeah, that was one of the main. I mean, it wasn't the only, but it was one of the main reasons that you had my vote. Was because I thought of anybody on the stage, you had this excellent knowledge about the outside the confines of the United States, this geopolitical, and look where we're at right now with Iran and things that are happening, how things have changed in just a few weeks or a few short months, couple of months since we talked about that. we need people that are going to be thinking, have really kind of know, right now, I know Congress has not been involved that much, but they will be. And, where does this go and what does it look like and what answers, what do we need, message do we take from the 14th or any district to Washington? And because this is scary stuff for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Things are getting ugly.
Yeah.
In some ways, people say it's great. And other people say, well, this is horrible. But I think that plays into all of that. And I just thought that some of them were not prepared for that, where you might have thought like data centers or this question or APAC. But in other ways, I'm guaranteed there were people on that stage, they didn't know how to answer some of those questions.
Right.
There's no way.
Oh, there's
So-
no doubt.
Yeah, in your posting on Facebook, which I don't have in front of me, but you said you initiated that you would run again for something.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. Want to hear that?
I had a blast. I think this is minus it was really hard to do everything together, and I didn't get to get out nearly as much.
Right.
But I enjoyed every aspect of it, to talking to you guys, to answering individual people's questions, to standing at a candidate forum. I thought it was a fantastic experience, and it kind of, I didn't win, but I think what it taught me is that this is what I would like to do. So
That's
I
nice.
don't
That's
know where I'm
awesome.
going to go next. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
See,
I
that
can
was
see
going to be
the
one of my next
excitement.
questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, what did you learn from this?
Yeah.
And the fact that this is for you,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That is awesome.
I definitely learned. I got a better idea of how I need to run next time too, though. I
Right.
learned a lot.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
mean,
lessons.
when you don't know what you don't know, and
Right.
you go in, and now the second part of that, would you run for this office again? You don't have to put yourself on the line, but would you consider
No,
a run for the same office?
I would totally consider a run for this office. Not going to do it right now.
Okay.
So I will fully say, because I know it's going to come at some point, Clay Fuller has my full support.
Okay.
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 I may, maybe I'll run in the background of Clay or Sean, and when they decide not to run, or whatever in the time is in the future, and that could be that they move on to something greater. I don't like the way that they conduct themselves in office, or it's 6 years, right? Because I
Sure.
believe in term
Right.
your time is up. So maybe that will be the case. I'm not really sure. We'll see how the political scene falls out. I have joked, I don't think I'll do it, but I've joked several times that somebody needs to remove Ralph Warnock. We got
Yeah,
jokes
I
on
agree.
that one.
I agree.
Amen.
I mean, I've got to be careful what I say,
Yeah.
but from what I understand, he's a preacher.
Uh-huh.
What he's preaching is not
It's not consistent, right? So one of the candidates that I absolutely loved in this race was Tom Gray. And you want to talk about somebody that is morally incorruptible, that is running for the right reasons, that cares about the people that he's running
Right.
for. Like, he was fantastic. I actually spent the Sunday before the race, where I, probably should have been out doing knocking on doors and stuff. Me and my daughter went down to Cobb County, and we attended his service, and we got to hear him preach.
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, it was great. And I got to, talk to several people from his congregation that I met along the way.
That's right.
And it was a really great experience. And just to have gotten to know him,
Yeah.
his family, he had a kid from his church that helped with a lot of the campaign, that he comes off way older than he's supposed to be. His name is Henry. I don't think you'll see this, but if you do, hi, Henry. I actually thought he was Gray's campaign manager at first, and I kept seeing him all the time. And I didn't find out till later that he was a 17-year-old kid that is really interested in politics. He wants to do public policy when he gets older. When he goes to
Awesome.
college, he's a junior now
Yeah.
in high school. And just to get to talk to him, make friends with him. And
Wow.
before the last thing was done in Floyd County, he ran over, shook my hand, and he's like, I'm not done, with this. I'm doing politics again. You're running again. Like, here's my number. And the 17-year-old kid did this. And it was really cool.
It reminds me of, what was the TV show with Michael J. Fox, and he's like the young Republican
Yeah.
dude. He's a young guy.
Yeah,
but
I know. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Is
Yeah.
Meredith
I can't-
Baxter Burney is the mom, and all, but his dad does public television or something. But
Uh-huh.
he's the young Republican,
I
And
can't
but we
remember
do
the
have
name
young
of the
people
show.
that are really fired up. I think young people are gravitating more towards that.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing more of that.
So if I wait and I don't run for like another 6 years because I run for this seat again,
Yeah.
Henry might be my campaign manager.
There you
right?
go.
That
I
might
like
be what
it.
I got out of this.
That
I
would be
like
awesome.
it. Broski said thanks for answering those questions, Jenna. They were great answers and interesting to know. In asking that, would you consider a run for something else in the meantime if something popped
I
up?
would, but I think the right thing has to come up. So several people asked me about state. The problem is I am in Mike Cameron's district, and I love Mike. I think he's doing a great job. Everybody I know thinks he's doing a great job, and there's no
Right.
reason to run against somebody that's doing a good job. I also fall into Lanny Thomas. I fall into 53. That election is going on now, right? The runoff will be in April. I want to see Lanny succeed. I had somebody text me and they said, "Hey, why do you support Lanny?" And I had asked him a question. Now, I'll put this out there, right, for any other voters too. I asked Lanny a question over income tax because I was at the Dade County GOP meeting, and somebody asked all the candidates, "Do you support cutting property tax or income tax?" Because this is the debate right now in Georgia. And he said income tax, which I disagree with, right? I say property tax. And I said, we're going to have to, and this was a whole nother meeting. I said, I heard you the other day. We're going to have a conversation about this income tax thing. And right off the bat, Lanny was like, okay, I'm ready. Right? Like, let's go. And so I talked to him a little bit and he explained his position. And at the same time that he explained his position, he was able to show me that how all of his experience as the mayor before for Tryon is going to translate like that budget knowledge into the state. And I think he's going to do a really good job. So it's another one of those things. I'm going to have a state house and a state senate that I don't see a need to run against anyone. I also love my county commissioner. So I am in seat District 4, which is Brian Hart, and I think he's doing a really good job. So I don't think that there's a place for me just because I like the people that are elected right now.
What about Mayor of Chickamauga?
I don't technically live in the city limits.
Oh, okay.
Too bad.
Yeah, too bad.
Nothing against anybody, but too bad.
No.
Have you been
Like
to, have you been to the Capitol? Have you been during the session at the Capitol and things like that?
So I haven't got to sit through one. I would like to. I actually got to go to the Capitol when I was running, and it was in a weird position because I was running, but I took JROTC up there.
Yeah.
So I took them up, but I wouldn't wear my uniform just because I didn't want to get caught in a photo of something conflict. Right. But I got to bring them. They're the students, and Mike and Steve came down and talked to them for a minute. So that was kind of neat. One of the things I would like to do now in this break. So my goal right now, until I run again, is to learn as much as I can.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
If there was a lot of times where I was on stage and I felt really good, and I had people that came up and they were like, "You had the best answers," or it came off as you knew the most. And obviously, I was against different people at different times. But man, if you think I did good now, I'm going to be dangerous when I get back.
There you go. Yeah.
I want to go to some of the house sessions and experience that. I'm going to get knee deep in the Farm Bill. Like that's just one of the things I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
So I have read almost every National Defense Authorization Act since Ronald Reagan first started putting them out.
Right.
I've read the National Defense Strategy, the National Military Strategy, the Defense Strategic Guidance, all these big, huge documents on a regular basis. I've never read a bill that's in legislation before this. So the Farm Bill came out, it's out for markup, and I was like, I'm going to sit down and get into this thing. And the way that it's written is horribly hard to read, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it's like section
It
102,
is. I've read them, and it's
this,
like
and
headache.
that. Well, to get a good idea of the changes, you need to know all the stuff that's in there.
Sure.
So I want to go back and look up all of these acts that we regularly amend, all of these different, pieces that take a play in it so that I really, really understand it.
Because they will put something in that you like, and then they will add these other things in. You're all for it. Then they will shrink this or totally remove what you like. They do that kind of game, which that happens with a lot of bills, which is frustrating. So not pinning you down, but you have an open forum here. You can have a show called Ask Jenna or whatever, and just continue to connect with the voters in your district. You have that opportunity. We offer that time.
That would
Anytime.
be great.
You can have a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever you want. You can be building that platform now and connect with those people, and then come in the chat and ask you questions. You could come on and educate us on some of this stuff about the authorization.
That'd be great.
So that's available to you right now.
Right, because it goes to you only know what you know.
Right.
But if we want to have like topics that people are concerned about, like take the time to do my research, so I don't show up and I'm like, ooh, I don't know, I'm not tracking, right? But no, that would be great.
I think one of the things that people need to be educated about, myself as well, I need to know more, is tariffs. Because for years, tariffs took the place of an income tax.
Right.
And why can't we do that now?
I don't think there isn't a reason that we can't do it. So
I know people are just they're against tariffs because they've been vilified.
Right. So, and I think that the reason that they've been vilified, especially right now, right?
It's true.
The cost of living is so high.
Yeah.
So what people don't what you don't realize is that you're going to have to deal with a difficult time to make things better.
Yes.
Right. There is no right, easy answer. Any easy answer is going to make something worse.
That's right.
Right.
If we want to make a move to tariffs, we're going to have to make a move to tariffs, and it's going to be like timely because we're dealing with sales tax and income tax and the tariffs and all the other stuff. And it's a lot. Like, we can't afford to absorb it. So nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
The thing I think we need to do is we need to figure out what that revenue income stream is, or the two revenue income streams. And this is primarily how we bring it in, and we're not getting taxed 10 different times.
Right.
Right. That's why people are so angry. We don't want to add a tariff tax on top of an income tax, which comes with a Medicare tax, which comes with your state income tax, which comes with your state sales tax, which comes with your right.
Well, I mean, look what sparked the American Revolution. It was what, a 5% tax on tea? And here we are today. You know, somebody's got to roll their sleeves up and get busy.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever seen the Hamilton musical?
No.
Parts of it. I have a friend that goes to every time it's around. They go.
Yeah. So I've got a 13-year-old daughter, right? And she dances and everything. She's into musicals, and so it's a big thing for her. But I also hear teenagers sing at school all the time. But there's a line in there, and they're like, right, imagine, or look what happened when they taxed our tea. Imagine what's going to happen if they tax our whiskey. And I think that's kind of where it goes into, right? Like, we'll tolerate so much, and then there's a threshold, and we are done. Like, we're done playing. We don't even care what it is. We don't care what the solution is. We don't care the reason is. When we draw a line in the sand, we are done.
Well, see, a lot of this stuff, I think they slipped in during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that were slipped in by the elites, and we're suffering from it today.
Yeah. Well, and they had to figure out how to pay for all of the programs you had. So.
Yeah.
Going real quick
FDR.
back to the election, was it a little shocking to you that we have the runoff is between a Republican and a Democrat that they because this is a very conservative area. Did we read too much into that, or is it just because there was so many people running, the votes were spread out? What is your thoughts on that?
So it honestly didn't surprise me at all. So
Okay.
And we kind of expected it. Me and my husband had conversations about it for a while. You know, I would not have been surprised if Sean had been able to take 51%. And I say, I will put this out there. Right? It's Sean Harris, right? Most people say Harris Fuller, whatever. I do know him. Like, I know Sean, so I'm used to calling him by his first name. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was able to take 51%, because the problem is people don't show up to the polls. We don't vote.
Right.
And Republicans are worse than Democrats when it comes to not
That's
voting.
true.
Yeah, Democrats will go out and get busloads and bring them.
Right. So if
we need to start doing that as Republicans.
I know. I had an older guy, 74, that I made friends with in Murray County during this, and he couldn't go vote because he didn't have a ride. And I was like, I bet you I can't legally get up and take him to the polls. Like, it's not even about voting for me. Like, he couldn't go vote because he didn't have a ride, and his car broke down, so he didn't absentee ballot. He wanted to vote in person. His car doesn't work.
Right.
But yeah, so if you look just at election numbers, because we do, you know, our area is weird. We have Cobb County too, which is the offshoot of Atlanta and things.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Harris got 134,000 votes when he ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene in the general election last time.
He did. It was
we
a strong
only
campaign.
had. Did we have 100? We didn't even get 130,000 people show up. I think we had like 122 or 125,000 people in the whole election. I haven't seen the final number. So all as his base had to do to win was show up, and that's where Republicans failed. And people were really worried about the split decision. And I was kind of hoping that the split decision, or the split amount of candidates, right? They're like, you guys are going to eat away at numbers, and this is going to destroy us. There was 2 other Democrats who at least pulled 1,000 votes apiece. If you add up all of the candidates like myself who barely pulled a small fraction, we don't even, you know, we're pretty much equal to those 2 Democrats that they're a Democrat, they want to vote Democrat, but they didn't like Sean. The only 2 that really took, or the only 3 that took numbers were Tom Gray took 4,000, Brian Stover took 5,000, and then Colton Moore took his 12,000 or so, right? So the minute of us that ran didn't take a fraction. We didn't make an impact in the race.
Right.
I wish it would have garnered more enthusiasm to bring people in, and it didn't. I was very disappointed about that, because there's no way you couldn't find a candidate
the percentage. I haven't had a chance to look up and see the percentage of eligible voters versus how many voted. Do we know that what that number was? I mean, it was probably tracked around 7% at one point.
No, so it made it over that. So we had somewhere in between 122 and 125,000 people vote. We have 601,000 some change of eligible voters. So you're looking at just over 1 in 6 actually showed up to vote.
Okay. Not that bad, really, considering
No.
how things usually are.
But we only have, I think, around 30% or so that are actually Democrats.
Yeah.
So to have 30% that run Democrat with only 1 in 6 people showing up, and then to have, the Democratic Party win, not even just make the runoff, but win, it shows you who got out to the polls.
It's amazing, and it happened in a very quick time. I mean, like, it wasn't that long between, when this all started to when we had to do that. So that's actually,
and
pretty
that's
strong.
actually the huge difference in the base. I think, too, when it comes to elections. So Sean Harris never stopped running. He ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he kept running. He kept going to meetings and shaking hands, and he made his presence known. So when the election kicked off, everybody knew who he was.
Right.
Where now you've got, originally started as 17 Republican candidates trying to go out and meet people and shake hands, and you've got 60 days to get a name, and that's it.
That's crazy.
And that makes a difference.
And that especially when you haven't been out there before, and you're trying to build that for yourself, and it's making those connections. So now they know who you are, and that will help you in the future for that.
Yeah,
But
we've got to get your name out there.
It's a razor thin. I mean, Georgia's very close, and it's one other question I have. And you may not know, and that's fine. I feel like a lot of outside money poured into this race.
To the race?
From outside the state. I may be wrong. It just felt like I've never seen the amount of money that was spent for flyers and text and all the stuff that they do. I've never seen that much. It was every day, multiple times a day. Somebody was spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if some of that was coming from
the national scene. There definitely was. It was coming. Probably more in Sean Harris's campaign than anybody else. I think that's a composition of, like, he had the money to blast. My mother lives in Oregon, and she was like, I got another email from Sean today, right? Because he was doing the national thing. But I mean, he's doing what he can to run. I think on Clay's side, I know that there were some very angry people that are like, he's getting money from donations from people that live wherever.
Right.
He's also served in the military.
Sure.
I had money that came from, honestly, the majority of the donations I had very little, but they came outside from Georgia, but they came from people that I have served with, and those are the people that are like, hey, this is awesome, and they sent me money. And I think Fuller's connections, the money that came outside, came from that same effect, from people he went to college with, from people that he served with, not some, I want to influence a Republican election in Georgia.
Right.
It was, I want to support Clay Fuller.
Yeah, I really appreciate that Mitchell Horner went out and spoke against the most negative stuff that came out day of, the night before the election and stuff. And I told Paul, I said, I don't want anybody representing me that is going on attacks like that, talking about people's families and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't know who they were. Don't care. I'll let God handle that. But I tell you, I don't want nobody like that representing me.
No, and I was absolutely mortified. So I hadn't met Clay Fuller's wife until the campaign, but I got to know her. Our kids actually go to school together.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I met her, I think she was like, I think I was behind you in the parent pickup line.
Right.
And so then you see the first text, and it attacks his wife, who is a very good person, took care of him through his entire cancer battle, obviously have kids together, and now the attacks his wife and attacks his kids. And I was just like, it was horrible.
That's
like, to
we
be
just
able
don't
to
do that.
sink
We got to
to
be
that.
better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, we all do. I mean, we understand, and I don't like it, but the mudslinging sometimes goes between the candidate, but you leave the family out of it.
Yeah.
We've sort of crossed the line on that in the last few years. And I've told people, even friends of mine have kind of joked around about some stuff. I'm like, I get where you're going. I appreciate the humor, but I really don't want to.
Yeah. I
just don't want to go there. I want to be. We got to be careful with that. Because we think about our kids, and we would feel if somebody. I mean, thank God they didn't do your kids like that. I mean, that would have been horrible. I can imagine. I thought about you. I can imagine if they attacked Jenna and then started throwing stuff out there about her husband or kids. It's just horrible to even think that there's people out there like that, but there is. So So
sad.
Next for you is these other things you're talking about, running the business, education, and all the things that you do. So just pour into that and continue to work and build knowledge and be ready for what door opens up.
Yeah, I think I said it at one of the campaigns. I don't think we've talked about it here, but one of the neat things that happened is that somebody that sat on Marjorie Taylor Greene's agricultural roundtable when she originally kicked it off pre-COVID sent it to me. So I had, her table laid out and who the attendance fees were and what the objectives were. I want to try to figure out how to get that started again.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that farming is one of our big concerns. You know, I talk about the budget a lot, but farming is one of the other things that got me into this.
Good.
Our food system is everything. We're running out of the ability to grow it. The things that we feed people is making them sick. Like, the whole thing is insane.
Yeah.
And I think there's enough interest in here to be able to put that together. And I'm hoping that I can get whatever candidate that wins at the table to be willing to listen. And that's something, if not, we'll get the round table going and we'll push our agenda, right?
There you go. There you go.
Where did you vote? Your city in the city? Where do you normally go to?
So I normally vote in Chickabata.
Yeah.
So I will almost always, if I can, vote on voting day. Because I like the last minute things. I like to see how things develop. I was very eager to vote, so I went down, day one of opening polls, and I went down and voted in Lafayette this year. But it's typically Chickamauga.
When you walked in and you seen your name on that ballot, how did that feel?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I was leaving, and I was the only one in there at the time. But the ladies behind the thing were like, they were loud enough to hear me. And they're like, I bet you I know who she voted for, but I won't say. And I smiled,
It just has to be surreal a little bit.
It was.
Because you're like, you voted all these years and there's you. I mean, you get to cast your vote. I mean, it's the coolest thing. I've always liked that when I see the candidate, no matter what party, when they go in to vote for themselves, there has to be a feeling with that.
Yeah. The first time I saw a sign in a yard that I had no idea who lived there or how the sign got there, I think I was the most tickled. I drove by a sign and I was like, oh, look, somebody had value support. Yeah.
Wow.
And I had that happen on several occasions, and I think
cool.
that was one of the really cool events.
Yeah.
That's great. Anything else you want to share? I appreciate you so much coming and sharing all that. And like I said,
after the last 2 months, there's probably a lot, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, again, you can have that platform and have an opportunity to interact with the voters, and while you're still supporting others. And I think there's a need for that, especially the farming and what you're talking about, the agriculture, the national defense stuff. Both of those are close to my heart, and I would love to have something like that if it fits in your schedule.
Yeah, come on, share what you've learned.
Okay.
I mean, it's your show. Well, I don't have to be on there. We'll just help set it up for you and help you run it. I mean, it's yours. Ask Jenna, whatever you want to call it. I would just love to hear the answers. I'll submit questions.
Yeah, that would be great. I actually thought about trying to, pull up the Facebook thing and do like a Friday night Ask Me Anything type deal. But I didn't know how many people would show up. And I'm quite partial to a glass of bourbon on Friday night. I didn't think that was a good idea either.
Yeah. Kind of loosens the lips a little bit.
It does.
There's some friends of mine, they invited me on their show for New Year's Eve. They said, Dave, just so you know, you come in whenever you can, but by 30 minutes within the show, we'll probably all be fairly, I went in, but I left before it got really bad. They're great guys, but it's like, okay, it's going to get a little wild in here. So
I think one of the best campaigns I had with an entire other candidate was Bo Brown. So I never actually registered to run the special, or that registered in the primary, right? I figured the special election would determine things. I kind of saw how it was going to go, and it's a lot of money to be able to spend. So I called Bo. So that really interesting story how he managed, because he wasn't planning on registering in the primary at first. And part of the same thing, money and support. And he just had it. Some people came up last minute, really supported him and put it out there. And he showed up to pay and qualify 30 minutes before it finally closed on the last day.
Oh, wow.
And so I called him and I was like, man, what happened? Right. And he's telling me the story and stuff. And we sat on the phone for an hour talking about, why we're running, our community, some of the different things that we had done, who we like to go out and see. And Bo's, I think kind of in a disadvantage with his background. I told him that when I was talking to him, I was like, the first time I saw you run, I was like, why are you doing this? I was very concerned about this candidate on stage. Yeah. And he's gotten way better. But he's got a great heart for it.
Right.
And it was fun to just actually be able to sit back with a candidate for an hour and just have a non-binding conversation about politics and what we think and everything we saw. And that was a blast. So
I do want to tell you, I almost forgot. Well, after the 2 sit-downs that we had, this is well after that, a lady sent me a comment off of one of those, because on some of the platforms, they just stay out there. They'll never go away as long as we have a presence there. And she thanked us for that time, and she said, this helped me to clarify my vote.
Okay, good.
She didn't say what that vote was, but if there's one, there's more. And I thought that was really good. I was happy to see that somebody, after had not voted yet, watched one of those. I don't remember which one. And so this helped clarify for me my vote. Thank you so much.
I was surprised how many last minute voters there were. I was getting emails and texts till probably 5 p.m. on voting day asking me where I stood on a specific position and trying to decide if they were going to vote for me. Like, it was up to the 8th hour. And I did get a lot of responses that I was I think I was the most person to directly answer texts and emails, at least from what I got from other people. Because they'd be like, I sent this question to everybody and you're the only person that responded. Right? Even if they didn't agree with me, it was like, thank you for a response. And I guarantee that there was, candidates out there doing other things, not at 5 o'clock still answering messages. So now that's one of the things I've learned is make sure that you're available up until the last minute.
Very much so. And I usually vote early. And again, I didn't help the election because of my wife's health, and she was actually in the hospital. But I left the hospital on that Thursday before and went and voted after in between visits to the hospital, and went and voted that day at Westside. So it was, it was just about 1 or 2 people, I think, there voting. It was in the middle afternoon, but it was an honor to go vote, cast that vote for you and for Lanny. And I appreciate. I would just say, and I don't expect you to comment. It was in my mind earlier. I think Colton Moore made a mistake in running in this. I thought it was just not the best fit for him. I don't know what he does now, and continues on or whatever. But I just thought that was not really his race. I had heard from some people across the district that are sort of entrenched a little bit. They said that he wasn't going to get the support. I heard that early on. I just never said nothing about it because it was said in a confidence. And but I told you that they very much liked your answers. Nikki Lama, how did he do? I didn't see his vote total.
I think he got like 1,100 votes.
Okay.
Very.
There were some people that were
fraction, very small. Yeah.
They knew his family and they thought he was a good candidate. But it's really hard when there's that many people running in an election. So.
I had gotten mixed returns from Nikki, people that knew him or were affiliated with with him and stuff like that from Dalton. Some people that thought he was great and was glad that he was running, and some people that were just really not happy with how he ran and said that he had made a lot of other not happy, and I think not made a lot of people in the area not happy. They didn't necessarily agree with positions and things like that, and I think that kind of showed in the voting poll. I'm not sure if he's carrying on in it. The one thing that got me with Nikki, and I totally called him out on it, but before there were several of us that didn't run in the primary, and 3 days before the primary he put up a post with all of our stuff that said withdrew, with the impression essentially that we're not running going into this race.
Wow.
And that was very, very disappointing to see. And we're not running in the primary, but that's a different race, right?
Yeah.
That's, there's disinformation out there.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for your time. I know you probably got lots to do today on a hump day and family and
I have farm work to catch up on.
Thank you so much for coming. And I look forward to seeing you again. And come on in, whoever's coming to the studio. Come on in, my friend. And we'll see you soon. I fully believe that we will see you soon. And you got great things ahead, and we're excited about it. Any way we can help,
let us know. And I'm excited about you coming on here and having
that'd be great.
Yeah, you can do that from home or here or however you want to do that. Okay. We'll hook it up, and I think that'd be a great thing for you to really continue to
keep
your name out there and be able to share some of this information we're not hearing from other candidates too, including maybe the one who will eventually win. I think I know for me, and if there's me and Paul, there's others that are like us that want to hear that information.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start with like a dive when it comes to the primary race a couple of weeks out. Like
I would love it. I would love it. Let's do it because
awesome.
I'm very much. I've always done these political shows about elections and stuff like that, and see now you're a veteran. Now you've been through one, so now you have cred with that. We don't have that. You do, and we can talk about these things and we can give our analysis. We can be like those folks in Atlanta sitting on the dais. We can say, well, we think this one's going to be good or that one. Or, we don't like this answer. We can read their speeches and pick them apart and say what they really meant to say here. But I'm just kidding. But it'd be great.
Have graphs.
Yeah. What was the guy that always had the little chart? And he was.
Oh, I forget.
Remember Tim Russer? Tim Russer.
Yeah.
He'd always pull up the little dry erase board, and write down Jenna's board. Well, here's my board. Here's the thing.
That would be hilarious.
But I think we would get. I think we get interest in that. I think it would be. Yeah. In whatever level it is, I think it would help you, and I think it would be great for us. And I would love that opportunity to do that. So
sounds good.
All right, folks, we're gonna get off here. We do have racing and dirt track and sports coming up, and other folks coming in, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching this. Please like, follow, share, and send this out to folks.
Yep.
So who may not see it or have seen it live, and we'll rerun this several times so that people see it. And we will see you in a few. Take care. Get the music running, and thank you, Miss Jenna. All right, here we go. All right.